What's up, gang? Season 1 of Kenobi is now complete, so I see no better time to revisit this old set we reviewed a while back. Today we're going to be modifying and expanding Obi Wan's hut. And you guys know me and how this channel goes. You already know I picked up a second copy and we're going to be combining the two into one larger build. So as of right now, before I've even touched any pieces from the second copy, the plan is to try and make the layout as close to canon as possible. I don't typically try and make my builds based on canon, but for this one I thought it would be a neat idea. However, I have already had a few ideas of things I want to change around, so we'll see how closely we can stick to that. We've been waiting long enough though, let's go ahead and tear open this bag and see what we can make. Alrighty guys, we're going through the building process, and this is just about where we're at. Now like I said, we are in the middle of the building process. This at one point was going to be my final design. I was settled on this, but after a while I've decided there's some things that I did wrong that I could do to improve the entire build. And it's not quite the original vision I had. I'm still having some trouble making that work, so we'll see what we can do. But this is just what we're working with right now. It's pretty much based on the original set as far as the back goes. We have a little bit of different interior space. This isn't a full review, I'm just going to show you guys really quickly, and if it ends up being the final product, you guys probably won't see this part. We have a little hologram area, a small little kitchen, and then as well a small personal space for Ben Kenobi in the back with some storage and a bed and his own hologram table. Now there are many things that I'm incredibly happy with on this current model. The fact that it's still able to expand is huge to me, and that's one of the main mods that I want to do to this set. It still needs to be expandable and it still needs to be a playset. So I think I have that down. I just don't think I've quite nailed the design everywhere. There are some parts that just look a little too rugged. One of my biggest gripes, especially with playing and trying to model the inside, was this left section. When the entire set is closed up and the top dome is down, you can't really get inside this left area with the roof, so I had to make that detachable and part of the wall detachable as well, so you can get your fingers in there a little more easily. So I'm happy with where we're at, but I do see areas that need improvement, so let's see what we can do and we'll come back. Alrighty guys, so we were able to make some improvements on our first design, and this is the final product that we've come up with. Here's my new, modified, expanded Obi Wan's hut. So I did mention in the beginning how I was going to try and go for a canon look, and very quickly that fell apart because I liked my own ideas better. But instead of talking about the ideas, I better just show you. So going around the exterior of the build, you can really see I tried to keep that same style and the same playset architecture that LEGO established with the original set. We'll go ahead and start up at the front though. We have that doorway from the original set. It hasn't changed too much. The design overall is pretty much the same. You guys saw as I was spinning the model around, we have a bunch of different tan plates and bricks mixed in there. I like the style that the mismatched bricks provide. Since there's no real consistent design going for what bricks go where on the outside, it makes it look like it has a little bit more of a natural weathering effect on it after being out in the elements of Tatooine for so long. And then on this side here, we have more of that same style going, a few more windows over here. And then of course around the model, like any Tatooine building, we have a bunch of different miscellaneous piping detail around. Some could be evaporators, some could be some moisture farming equipment. Really, it's just up to your own imagination. But like any Star Wars build, I wanted to have a little bit of greebling in there. On the roof of the hut here, we just have a little sitting spot for Kenobi to watch out over the wastes. I like to imagine he comes to sit on this little perch leaning over this railing to keep an eye on Luke from far away. I even added a brown cheese slope as a small pillow so he can be comfy when he's sitting up there. Other than that, we don't really have much detail. We just have one small air vent there with a bunch of miscellaneous tiles and plates. And then of course we have the big dome piece that does retain the same folding up that the original set had. And then on the backside we have that large hole similar to the original set if you wanted to create any extensions or more hallways or more rooms. But that pretty much covers the exterior. Because it's very similar to the original set, I don't think I need to go over every little detail. The goal with this build was to keep the essence of the original playset, but just translate it into a larger build, and I think I accomplished that pretty well. But enough about the exterior, let's go ahead and head inside. So as you guys just saw, I did retain the expandable feature from the original set. And as mentioned earlier, that was very important to me, and that's definitely something that I needed to retain in order for this to be a successful build in my mind. But let's go ahead and start with the right side of this build with the doorway. So on this folded out right section, we don't really have a whole lot of detail going in there. It's really just kind of an equipment area. We have those two windows we saw from the outside, but just underneath the windows we have one storage container with a keypad to unlock it, as well as a few clips to store some equipment. Besides the storage, there's not really much going on with the entryway. I wanted to keep it clear so it was easy for minifigures to come and go. In between the two folded out sections, we do have a larger kitchen area than the original set provided, but we're actually going to go over this left side first. And the reason I want to go over this left side is actually because it's a little fragile and it makes it difficult to handle when I'm trying to balance these pieces. So on this left side of the build, you see we have that hologram table where Obi Wan Kenobi can view Princess Leia's hologram. And while it's a nice neat little area with two seats for any minifigures, it's just a little compact and it's a little difficult to get your fingers in there. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to work in a hinge just for this front section, so I just decided to make it detachable. It only attaches by 2 studs on the roof here, so you can see where the fragility comes in. But once you have this section detached, it's very easy to get that hologram table out of there as it's offset on just 1 stud. And then you can position your minifigures on the 2 seats in here. And the only other detail that we have in this folded out section is just a small shelf with some miscellaneous items as well as a lightsaber holder so Kenobi can store his saber. Other than that though, we can go ahead and reattach this section so we have a whole complete hut again. And now we can move on to the kitchen in the middle. So here in the kitchen, you can see we have a larger kitchen table sitting in the center of the room. We have some blue milk on top as well as some food and water. In the super dark corner though, we just have a small cooking station. On that left side, you have a stove there, and just on that right side, you have a grill represented by that grill piece on top. And then just next to it, of course, we have some more clips to store any miscellaneous kitchen accessories. And then opposite the cooking area, we just have a little shelf for some miscellaneous extra storage. We have that training droid sitting on that shelf in case Kenobi ever needs to practice and freshen up on his skills. And then just behind that, we have more cups and blue milk. And underneath the shelf there, it's not meant to be another cooking station. That little flame is meant to represent a small fireplace to help warm up the hut. Now I know Tatooine is already pretty warm, but I thought a fireplace was a nice touch, so I went ahead and added it in. And then behind the kitchen table, we don't have any more details. We lead into that big open area on the back of the hut. So that pretty much covers everything that we've done to Obi Wan's hut. The last mod that I did was actually to a minifigure. If you guys remember in my review, I said when I was first building the set that I accidentally put these Tusken Raider legs on my Obi Wan Kenobi figure. And that's just because I thought this printing fit with the Jedi robes. I didn't think Obi Wan would just be left with plain legs. So with my extra Tusken Raider, I tore off his legs and put it on my Kenobi fig, so he actually has some printed detail on his legs. Kenobi looks like this originally in the set, and while this isn't horrible, I would have liked some leg printing. So with a super quick leg swap, we have some extra detail on his legs now. Alrighty gang, well that pretty much covers everything that we did to Obi Wan's hut. I hope you guys enjoyed this mod video and the small little expansion. I would love some feedback in the comments about these intro segments that I do before my mods, so you guys can see a before and after rather than just a review of the after I've already made all the mods. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below, as well as your thoughts on this build. And of course, you guys know I love hearing your ideas. If you have any ideas for any future mod or alternate build videos, drop them in the comments below and make sure you're subscribed so you can stay up to date on all of those. Other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace, fellas.